Hello and welcome to Cooking with Kieran. Today I'm making chahan, or chicken fried rice. I'm using button mushrooms, mangetout and spring onion as my vegetables, but you can use others. I'm going to throw in some sweet corn as well. It's a good way to use whatever vegetables you have sitting. One thing you will need is yakitori sauce. I make my own and we'll have some in the fridge. It will keep forever in the fridge really once you make it, but you can buy it in the shops. Ingredients for yakitori sauce is 180 milliliters of light soy sauce, 6 tablespoons or 90 milliliters of sake, which is Japanese rice wine, and 6 tablespoons of mirin, which is a sweet Japanese rice wine, and a tablespoon of castor sugar. To make your yakitori sauce, you can throw all that stuff together into a pot over a low heat and just warm it until the sugar dissolves, stirring it. Once that's done, sauce is made, let it cool, and it will keep forever in the fridge. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of yakitori sauce for marinating the chicken. So I'm just putting it into the bowl. You see I've got it in a sort of in the sealing Tupperware container, which I just leave it in the fridge. Wash that, set it aside, so I'll use that for other stuff later. My spoon, pop this back in the fridge. And now I'm going to chop my chicken. I'm using 250 grams of chicken, cutting it into thin strips, maybe about a centimetre thick, so it'll cook quicker. This also tastes quite nice if you make it with chicken thigh meat, but I have breast here, so that's what I'm going to use. I want to cut it up into relatively small pieces. Again, you want them to be sort of bite-sized chunks. The benefit of cutting them into smaller bits as well is they'll cook quicker for you. And also note, if you're using chicken thighs, they'll be a bit moister and taste a bit better for this sort of dish. So put your chicken in your yakitori sauce, give it a good mix around, good stir. Then you're going to want to marinate this and leave it to sit. So give it a good massage in and set it aside for maybe 30 minutes. If you have an hour, that's probably better. Leave it aside. But if you don't, if you want to just make something to eat now, you don't have time to marinate it, it'll still taste nice. So it just won't be quite as good, but it doesn't mean you can't make the dish. Okay, so chicken's marinated. I'm going to start my rice. And this is going to take a bit longer to cook than the rest of it. We need to add it to the pan, so we want to start it first. I'll put in some boiling water. You want to use a lot of boiling water when you're making rice, so that the pot doesn't go dry. Putting it into the kettle just to speed it up so it's already boiling before I start. Then I'm using Thai Jasmine rice. I'm going to use about 150 grams for 2 people. So I'm just going to weigh that. You don't need to use scales. The container I'm using here is actually a dry measure, so it says on the side of it where 2 portions of rice would be. But get a cup that you use and use the same one every time, then you'll know how much you should put in for how hungry you are and how much you eat yourself. I'm going to salt my water slightly. You don't want too much salt in the water, you don't want to make the rice too salty, but a pinch of salt into the water. Add your rice. You want to cook this for as long as it says in your instructions for your Thai jasmine rice. different brands, cheap and fair, so you just read the packet and see how long yours takes. But remember, even if it says like cook for 10 minutes, make sure you check it after 8 to make sure that it's not done early. Right, so give it a stir. You want to scrape the rice up from the bottom of the pot. It can stick to the pot if you don't give it a stir to start. It's quite heavy at this stage and sinks to the bottom. So now rice is on, so when it's on I'm going to prepare my vegetables and then start cooking the chicken as well. So going to need my mushrooms, Mangetout, and some spring onions. I'm just going to trim the spring onions, take the outer leaves off. Quick stir the pot to make sure it doesn't stick. And then scrape up all the bits from the bottom. Now you should pretty much be able to leave your rice and just let it cook away. So cut your spring onions after you trim them. If the outer leaves are a bit dirty or hard, take the outside off. Trim them maybe 2-3 centimeter strips or an inch. Set them to the side. Also, I should point out, chopping board's been washed since the chicken was chopped on it. When the chicken was marinating, as is the knife. You don't want to be cutting vegetables in a dirty chopping board. Just had raw meat on it. So, going to use about 50 grams of the Mangetout. You can use more or less if you want. So I'm going to slice the Mangetout after we give it a bit of a wash. Have a look. If there's any that have the end bits aren't great, chop them off. The Mangetout is mostly okay. You don't normally need to trim it. I'll cut it maybe with 2 or 3 of them stacked up just to speed it up. Don't need to do them one at a time. You can cut a few together. Alright, I'm using button mushrooms, baby button mushrooms. You can use regular button mushrooms. This is all the shop had when I was in. I'm going to use maybe 50 grams of these. And I want to wash them first before you use them, or use a mushroom brush and just take off any bits of dirt that are still on them. So I'm going to slice my mushrooms. You don't want them whole, you want to slice them quite finely. If you want to, you can chop the ends off. I haven't put it in the ingredients, but I'm also going to use some sweet corn. I'm going to want 2 tablespoons of sweet corn, but without any water, so you won't drain them. I'm just going to take that out of the tin and pop it aside for later to go in with the rice after draining it. Then I'll set the tin to the side and then take it out to put in a Tupperware box for using over the next couple of days. You don't need a full tin, so you may as well use it for something else later. So just tidy up a couple of things, put the scales away after giving them a wipe. You need a couple of eggs as well for this dish, beaten together. So just crack 2 eggs into a container, jug or dish. Beat them together just to crack the yolks and mix them up. And set that aside. We're going to throw that into the pan later with the rice. So, get your wok, take it out. You want to heat your wok before you add any oil or add your food. I'd normally start with the hob high to heat the wok, and then if depending on how fast the stuff's cooking, I'd turn it down to maybe a medium heat, a medium high heat. So, heat your wok, check your rice again. Should have had the wok on a bit sooner, it's still not warm enough. So we're just going to strain the chicken here. You put the chicken in without the marinade, so just to lift all the chicken out you can use a strainer, but I just use my hands. One less thing to wash, just wash your hands when you're done. So lifting them out, draining it. I'm not trying to get all the marinade off, just don't want too much moisture going in the pan initially. Wash your hands after touching raw meat. At this stage the wok should be pretty warm, starting almost sort of to smoke. Don't be worried if it's starting to smoke. So just add your oil into the wok, a couple of tablespoons. You want to use vegetable oil, not olive oil, and put in your chicken. You'll see it start to sizzle quite quickly. If it's not bubbling away and sizzling when you put it in, you need your wok a little bit warmer before you start. That'll seal the meat nicely. So you just want to stir fry this around for a little bit until the meat's sealed and it starts to brown all over or go white. So it seals. So. Just remembering to flip it over every now and again to make sure you get all sides of the chicken cooked. You'll see the camera's not great here, but with a colour on it. But you'll see it's the meat's going brown because of the marinade. So once that's sealed, throw in your vegetables from your chopping board, so your Mangetout, scallions or spring onions rather, and your mushrooms. Give that a stir around to coat everything. When it's in the wok, you can continually stir fry it, but I just leave it sitting and tidy up the chopping board, wash it, tidy up the bench a bit. So give that a good stir, throw in your sweet corn. If you're using sweet corn. I'm just stirring as I go, making sure things don't stick to the bottom of the wok as I tidy up. Rice looks like it's done, so I'm just going to taste and make sure it's not too firm. So the rice is done, just going to strain it. So keep stirring your wok, set the rice to the side until you need it. I'm just breaking open some of the thicker bits of chicken to make sure they're cooked the whole way through. Now turn the wok down just a little bit, sort of to medium heat from medium high. Again, just checking the thicker bits of chicken again, they weren't quite cooked, they were nearly cooked a moment ago. So the chicken's nearly cooked, so I'm just going to finish washing the last few dishes that are sitting. Get rid of the bowl. Yeah, chicken's fine, it's cooked, so now I'm going to add my egg. Just pour it in. Mix it around quickly. You want the egg to start to scramble. As soon as it starts to cook and look scrambled, then we're going to add the rice. So you want the egg to be just cooked. Stir it around a bit to make sure it all gets against the wok and cooks evenly. It'll not take too long to do. It will steam still a little bit wet when you're throwing the rice in, but that's alright. Eggs done. Add the rice and give everything a good stir. Mix it up. So once everything's mixed up, you give it a good stir in. You want to add your soy sauce. So take your soy sauce, just make sure your tablespoon's actually clean, which that one wasn't. So tablespoon, soy sauce, into the wok, and another one. So 2 tablespoons soy sauce. Then give your wok a good stir to spread that around evenly over the food. Add a little bit of salt, seasoning at this stage. Not too much, just a pinch. Then check the seasoning, just make sure you've enough salt. That tastes good, so that's it cooked. Now all you need to do is put it in plates. Most of your dish is done already. As you're going, you've only got to walk a couple of plates, pot to wash. It's not going to be the most appetizing looking dish in the world, just with far too many colours in it, but it's really nice. And there you go, Shahan chicken in under 25 minutes.